What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harrison, and today we're talking about the kind of the two-part videos that Alana Pierce did on her YouTube channel, talking about first is Elden Ring is it too hard, and then her follow-up video talking about kind of the situational disability that she mentioned in the first video that she kind of had to further explain because I guess there was some controversy or people were kind of confused about what she had said. So let's go ahead and roll the clip, and then we'll talk about it.
When people are asking for accessibility, are not actually asking for an easy mode. That isn't the intent. There are also multiple kinds of disabilities, especially where gaming is concerned. There are long-term disabilities, there are situational disabilities, there are temporary disabilities. It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring is concerned if you have a kid. You have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause. It is a situational disability that you have, where the game not having the option for you to be able to pause, for example, is a hindrance for your particular disability, a situational disability. You may need to pause to stop your kid from putting a fork into a socket.
All right, so we'll talk about the kind of the first topic first in regards to, is Elden Ring too hard? I feel like this conversation literally comes up every single time a Fromsoft game comes out, whether it's a new game or Elden Ring DLC. It's always, people are always complaining that it's too hard. I made a video on it, or I think maybe I did a short. I can't quite remember, but basically, I think a lot of people that had previously played Elden Ring, they just forgot that after getting on to new game plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and just steamrolling these bosses in the base game, that once you kind of get to the DLC, it does more or less like reset you. Like you are kind of back at the beginning, but not really. So the game is a lot harder than I guess people remember it being, actually, because they've beaten it so many times now. But also, new players, there's always people that are like, well, I want to get into FromSoft games, but they're just too hard, right? People have that concern as well, and I get it. They are very hard games, and I'm definitely not one of those gatekeepy FromSoft people that always complain about how other people play FromSoft games. Like, well, if you use magic, you're not playing the game right. Oh, well, if you use a mimic, you're not playing the game right. You're cheating. It's like the mechanics in the game. Like, why can't I not just play how I want to play? I never get that argument. I never get why people get so upset about that. So again, I will never be a gatekeeper. However you want to play the game is totally fine with me. If you want to mod the game, hell, I don't care. Just play the game and enjoy the masterpiece that Elden Ring is. And I think Elden Ring is probably the most accessible FromSoft game they've made in regards to like newcomers and people maybe that aren't as skilled at FromSoft games. I mean, there's so many sites of grace that you can constantly kind of fast travel throughout the map. There's the America statues that are always right outside of the boss arena, so there's no really backtracking anymore. You don't have to constantly go through those runs to lead up to the boss, which can be such a pain. You're always going to spawn right there, right? And even like the sites of grace are super close to the bosses for the most part too. So again, I think the game has been at the most accessible it's ever been for new players. There's so many new people that came to Elden Ring, even recently, thanks to like the Kai Cenat streams and stuff like that. But obviously, I mean, Elden Ring was huge before all that, anyways. But so yeah, I think now again, I said that I'm not a gatekeeper, and will never be. But with FromSoft games, you kind of have to get good. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, or like I'm better than you type of player or something like that. You have to learn the game, you have to learn the mechanics, you have to learn the strategies, you have to learn how the boss moves and stuff like that, how enemies move. You have to learn all that, combine that all together, and then triumph the boss, right? Beat the boss. I think that's one of the best parts about Elden Ring. And FromSoft games in general, is once you fight a boss over and over again and you lose and you're getting your butt kicked and you finally beat it, it's like the best feeling in the world, right? A lot of people are like, I think a lot of people, for gamers that play Elden Ring, hey, I'm gonna go home and relax and play Elden Ring or something like that. People are like, why would you? The game is so hard. How is that relaxing? Yeah, the boss fights are hard, but just traveling through the game itself is so much fun. Just traveling on horse and stuff like that. So I do find it relaxing in that sense. So yeah, I in that aspect, you kind of just have to get good, and you just kind of have to learn the game. And that's the point, right? It's a hard game. I don't think there should be an easy mode. I don't think that's what FromSoft wants to do. That's not their vision. You know, every developer has their own vision, and you know they go in and they tweak the bosses, right? So like they understand that maybe, okay, yes, maybe this boss is a little bit too hard. Maybe the move set is a little bit too much, or maybe this one specific move does too much damage. Like, you know, pre-nerf, like Radon, Radon back in the day was crazy hard. I think I beat him before the nerf, so like that's something that I'm kind of proud of, right? But then they nerfed him, and he's still like really hard to fight. So they understand that it can be too hard at some points, and they'll go in and adjust. But just to have like an easy mode, I don't think that's I don't think that's right. You know, some games aren't meant for everybody. They just aren't. And I think that's what people have to understand is that you don't have to play every single game out there. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If it's too hard for you, and you can't get a sense of the controls, then it is what it is. You know, and that's, you know, you have other Souls-like games like Another Crab's Treasure that literally has an easy mode where you just pull out a gun and just shoot everything in one shot, and that's cool. But like it kind of takes away the funness of the game, in my opinion. So, all right, I think we talked enough about that, and probably done for the future. It's always exhausting hearing these people bring up you know, FromSoft games are too hard. I don't think they are. Anyways, so jumping over to the other part of the video where she talked about situational disability. The example she used is if like you're a parent, like if you have like a newborn or if you have a kid or something like that, that if you have to jump up and, you know, stop them from doing something dangerous or whatever the case is, it would be nice to be able to pause the game. Now, obviously, if your kid's running around with a knife or something like that, or cuts themselves or they're bleeding, you're just going to throw the controller and go pick them up and take care of them. But in a situation where, like, you know, I don't know, if your kid needs a sandwich or your kid yells at you and that, you know, they need help finding something on the TV or something, it would be nice to pause the game, please, FromSoft. Just add that feature. I believe Sekiro had a pause in their game. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's the only FromSoft game that has a pause in it. I could be wrong, but I think it does. Being able to pause the game takes nothing away from the overall experience. You know, again, going back to the gatekeepers and the weirdos online, if you add a pause function, it's going to take away the integrity of the game. Like, no, it's not. It's me pausing even if I was trying to use it to like save myself, like, oh, I'm in a boss fight and like I pause it to be able to think about, like, I mean, I guess you could do that, but like, who's actually going to do that, right? You're still going to get hit. It doesn't really matter. And there's a way to go around and like if you go in the settings, you can technically pause it if you go to like the help feature or something like that, but it takes a few clicks to get there. So it's like you can pause the game. So just let us. To me, it makes no sense. So yeah, I think situational disability, and again, you know, she brought this up in her video, but you know, in the tech industry, like the word disabled doesn't necessarily mean like a disability, like deafness or blindness or something like that, or you know, if you're in a wheelchair, whatever the case is, like disabled literally means like something is disabled. Like you turn your Bluetooth off. Bluetooth is disabled. She used those points in her video. So maybe like I don't know. And she also talked about like is situational disability, is that the right term? Should it be like situational circumstances, I think is what she brought up, of maybe a better way of calling that situation. I don't really know. I think both terms are fine. But as a parent, like, it would be nice to have a pause button in Elden Ring. Like, this is literally the only game that I even think about that when I'm playing, right? Is I have to, okay, I either have to fast travel back to a site of grace, or I have to find a spot where there's no enemies. It's just kind of, it adds a extra layer of annoyance to the game where I just don't feel like it should be there. But yeah, I just feel like it's not a big deal to add. So, so yeah, I totally agree with what you said about that. Again, that's very circumstantial. Like, it's not going to happen to everybody, especially if you don't have kids or whatever. But as a parent, it's happened to me before, so it would be nice. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know, are you in that same situation as I? And do you think Elden Ring is too hard? Do you think there should be an easy mode? Again, it's a tiring conversation, but I enjoy it, right? So let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, so the video is not over. I was getting ready to grab the links for Alana's 2 videos she made before I uploaded, and I saw that she had changed her title to the second video. And let's just look at it, because I didn't realize how bad like the controversy was. Like, people are trying to like get her fired from her job and stuff like that, and you know, doing what the internet does and doing the old cancel culture stuff, because she called situational circumstance or whatever like a type of disability, which I, again, like I said in my video, I totally agree with. All right. I changed my titles a lot in the first few days, but I'm going to stick with this one. People will comment, nobody's canceling you, but that means you haven't seen it. They've reached out to my employer to tell them to fire me, to sponsors to drop me, or in the comments section saying shit like, I hope you get canceled. That's insane. that is insane, because she mentioned it being, and a lot of people, I see a lot of people are commenting that are disabled, that they hate when companies like try to use you know, differently abled and stuff like that. They're saying that's even more offensive than just using the word disabled. Like, it's like a negative meaning. Like, it just means what it means. Like, you are disabled. Someone posted the definition of a disability: lack of adequate power, strength, or physical or mental ability. I think if people are afraid to use certain words these days, and I think in most of the cases it's fine to use. Nobody's gonna get offended. Man, the internet is crazy. Okay, we're done. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. Give it a click, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.